Hi guys, Maverick Veteran here. Hope this finds you all well. Apologies for not being online this past week, but all last week I was driving up and down around the country um, in meetings and at various events, including going to see Dennis down in Plymouth. Spending a bit of time with UK Column, did a bit of filming with UK Column. Hearts of Oak, of course, and Dean Cumberpatch, who I may as well move into his house to be fair, but he's got six very large dogs which tend to make up most of the space. So I'll have to rule that one out. So 1,200 miles I clocked up last week. 1,200 worthwhile miles, to be fair, because managed to get a lot sorted out. Now, I've written a bit of a script for tonight just to bring you up to date on a few bits and pieces. But within the hour, I've received some additional information as well, which I'll just tack straight on the end of this feed. Right, without further ado, let's crack on. So, Einstein stated that any intelligent fool can make things bigger, more complex, and more violent. But it takes a touch of genius and lots of courage to move something in the opposite direction. Now, leaving the genius bit out, I think that everybody that's within the movement has got the courage to actually move things forward and try to achieve what we need to achieve. But all the issues that we've got surrounding us at the moment, be it sort of the Northern Ireland veterans, be it EU military unification, be it the lockdown, the children, paedophilia, grooming, you name it. As long as we maintain that courage, then we will definitely, without a shadow of a doubt, move things forward. It's just going to take time. And time appears to be running a little bit slowly. But we are achieving stuff. We've had several civil serpents removed from their positions. All right, they're still there in government, probably pulling the strings elsewhere now, but at least they're moved out of the positions that they're in, causing us a few issues. Retired generals have started to speak out, although that may be coming to an abrupt end, and I'll cover that with the breaking news right at the end of this feed. And we've got the Sefton Conservatives suddenly piping up, asking armed forces personnel, be it serving or retired, to join their Conservative Party for a knockdown price of £15 a year. Now, it does make you wonder why the Sefton Central Conservatives, which are over there in Merseyside, used to be part of Lancashire, but it's now Merseyside, does make you wonder why the Conservatives, especially a local Conservative party like that, is asking for veterans and serving forces personnel to actually join their ranks. And I would suspect it's because after all the pressure that everyone's been putting on the government of late, they're realizing themselves that we do actually hold the balance of power within this country when linked in with our families and our friends, i.e., all of you watching. So we've got them on a bit of a back foot, I think, and we just need to keep up that pressure now to ensure that they do the things that we want and not necessarily the things that they would like. Because, as I keep saying, we employ them, they don't employ us. Now, if we're going to achieve all this, unity is key. Unity, unity, unity is what it's all about, because together we are stronger. Now, don't criticize, assist as much as you possibly can in everything that this movement gets involved in. Now, I'm going to mention in a few minutes about trolls and keyboard warriors. We don't need it, guys. At the end of the day, you know, there are lots of us now starting to speak out and get loud. And those people include, obviously, myself, Dean Cumberpatch, Jeff Williams from Veterans United Against Suicide speaks out a hell of a lot with regard to veteran mental health issues and the suicides. Katie Hopkins speaks out all the time. She's barred from just about all social media now, but not forgetting that Katie Hopkins is a veteran. Trevor Colt, who I said a week or so back that Trevor Colt was going to leave Twitter and Facebook, and indeed he did. But the man's full of passion and he's back online. So I'm really pleased about that, to be fair, because Trevor is a bit like me. Love us or hate us, we're here to stay, and we're going to make damn sure that we can affect change on your behalf and with your assistance. Who else? A guy that goes by the name of Steve. Steve Yankee Lima, let's say, just to keep things official. Absolutely top man, does everything he can. Again, been barred from everywhere. Well, we're on side with him. And I don't mind people knowing that we're on side with him. Every single one of those people that I've just mentioned, including myself, are hit by trolls on a daily basis. And a few of us are now keeping a troll list in our trusty notebooks, and we're keeping a close eye. All I'm saying is that at this stage, we're not going to name and shame, because the ones of us that are keeping an eye on you are quite old-fashioned. We don't do that naming and shaming thing. That's a bit sort of playground-ish for us. We just deal with things head on. So if it continues, we'll see you face to face and we'll deal with it face to face, because I think that's probably the manly thing to do. If you think that you can do the job any better than us within the movement who are moving the movement forward, and that's thousands upon thousands of us, then step out from behind your keyboard, stop the trolling, and give us your assistance. Help us to move things forward in the way that we want everything to move forward for every man, woman, and child within the United Kingdom and beyond. No need for it. Right. Police state is something that I want to move on to now, and totalitarianism. It's come to light this week that if you're working from home, your home under UK law, mainly Health and Safety at Work Act 1974, becomes part of your everyday workplace, i.e. your pre-COVID-19 lockdown workplace, which means that your company can gain access to your home without asking your permission. They can just stroll in and check everything on the guise that they're making sure that the health and safety of yourself is being looked after. So if you're working from home, please be aware of that. You have got rights. You can deny them access. So if needs be, keep your doors locked and don't let anybody in unless you actually invite them in, because it does become an issue. And the same applies to anybody who, let's say, experiences the BBC licensing man at your door demanding access to your home. Well, you don't need to let him in at all. It's all folly. If he looks through your window and he sees you watching BBC News, well, fair enough. He may have you banged to rights, but you can still argue the toss. But he's got no legal right to enter your home and have a look to see if your TV receives the BBC channel. So please be aware of that. Child seizure now is also part of that. The government, in its paper that came out in March, if you read through it carefully, states that if you are suffering the symptoms of COVID-19, or indeed your child is suffering the symptoms of COVID-19, social services can come in and use that as an excuse to seize your children and take them to a location, and that's all it says, basically, a location where you can be, or they can be looked after and tested for a period of 14 days or more as required to ensure their well-being. Now, I smell a bit of a rat in that, so please do some due diligence, do your own homework on that, because it's something that it angers me. It's already going on apparently in Melbourne, Australia, and there was a report yesterday in Melbourne of a woman who was stopped in her car by the local police, and because there's an upsurge in people testing positive for COVID-19, the police stopped her because there's a bit more of a lockdown going in over there. They stopped her, asked her various questions through the window. She refused to open the door. She refused to put the window down. Well, that's good practice, I think, if you don't want to catch COVID-19, is to keep your window sealed, because you're hermetically sealed pretty much in a car. So, not putting your window down to speak to the police is safety, but the police saw it another way and they smashed the window and dragged her out the car and arrested her. So the totalitarian state is definitely well and truly alive in Australia. It's creeping through here in the UK, and we know it's already over there in certain states of the United States. So please be aware of what is going on with the authorities under the guise of COVID-19 and coronavirus. If you want to know any information whatsoever with regard to what I'm talking about now, what I would urge you to do is go on to the UK column. Now, the UK column is a fantastic organisation. It's free to view. You can go on to the ukcolumn.org/community. And if you wish to, you can pay a subscription of £3 per month. And that allows you into their back room as well, so that you can watch the behind the scenes interviews and discussions. If you don't want to pay the £3, that doesn't matter. Just watch it when it's beamed live on YouTube, Monday, Wednesday, Friday at 1 p.m, 1300 hours. Lots and lots of good information. I feed them information, they feed me information. Any information that they put out is all fact checked prior to it being put out on the program. So what you're getting from there is 100% bona fide. No bullshit, no pack drill. You're getting the truth. The truth. Right, Phil Staples has contacted me this week, along with various other people, saying that he lives in a part of the UK, the eastern part of the UK, and he's noted additional RAF aircraft flying around. Now, I live in the eastern side of the UK also, and so I've paid a bit more attention to the sky whilst I've been here, And yes, there does seem to be more activity in the skies with regard RAF flights. Now, have you noticed anything? Have you wondered why there's more aircraft? Perhaps it's something we'll look into to see if we can sort of get to the bottom of it. But it just goes to show that people like Phil Staples and others are waking up to the fact that all is not what it appears in our country at present, and that certain things have stepped up during the lockdown. Right, I've got a few diary dates for you now. 8th of August, that was Saturday, just passed. Bristol and Bath had a ride out. It was like a miniature rolling thunder. Went very, very well. So everybody that was involved in that, outstanding effort, well done. Also on the 8th of August, there was a Liverpool protest. Again, went extremely well, and that was all about the lockdown. 12th of August at 9 p.m. That's this Wednesday. Daily Chaos with Ollie Connolly. I'll be on that, talking about whatever Ollie wants to talk about, because it's totally unscripted. 13th of August at 7:30 p.m., which is this Thursday, you'll see me on the David Ellis Report, talking about EU military unification and government and the civil service. So if you'd like to tune into that, that's part of the UK column. You go on the UK column, you'll find it straight away. 14th of August at 10 in the morning, Lee Garrett is in Newcastle Crown Court. Not necessarily a good thing. He's in there because, believe it or not, he exposed some paedophiles and some groomers, and they've decided to charge him with a malicious communications, section 1. So anybody in Newcastle that's able to go up there and support him, please do. Newcastle Crown Court. 15th of August, there's a Liverpool Rolling Thunder, so please give that maximum support, because that will be a big ride out on that particular day. And also on the 15th of August is VJ Day, Victory in Japan Day. So we mustn't forget that. Hyper important day for all the veterans that were involved during the Second World War. 20th of August, Nathan Kirkton is in Hendon Magistrates Court. Again, not a good thing. But he's in there because he served papers on the Home Office during the lockdown. He's using the English Constitution in his defence. He's already been to the Crown Court in Parliament Square, and it's been downgraded to a magistrates court hearing. So that's quite good, quite significant. So if he wins this whole case, if it gets thrown out on the 20th of August, then maybe we could explore using similar for what we need to achieve. And then, of course, the 22nd of August is Nottingham, and that's covering all topics that we're currently working on. So children, Northern Ireland veterans, EU military unification, grooming, lockdown procedures, you name it, it's included in that event in Nottingham on the 22nd of August. Now, there will be another update on that either tomorrow or Wednesday. I'm meeting with Dean tomorrow and a couple of others tomorrow, and we're going to tie down some detail, and then we'll be able to get it out there, because Nottingham's in a bit of turmoil at the moment. They've got road closures. There are bona fide roadworks going on in Nottingham, but it's suspected that some of those road closures, particularly around the embankment, are deliberate because of our intention to go to Nottingham on the 22nd of August. So we'll keep you up to date with that after we've done a bit more homework on it tomorrow. What else? Right, Northern Ireland veterans. I had a meeting on Thursday with Dennis Hutchins, about 2 hours. We chatted, and he's fairly upbeat, all things considered. He's in close contact, obviously, with the man in the curly wig that's representing him, as well as his lawyer. And we've come up with a new plan. Now, we're just dotting the I's and crossing the T's on this new plan before we can give the details out. But I hope to get the details out in the next 7 to 10 days. And it could be a real sort of game changer. We're hoping so anyway. It involves people outside of government, because we're sick to death of petitioning government. It gets us absolutely nowhere. The government aren't listening. So we're going to petition somebody else and see how that pans out. Next thing I want to talk about is veteran suicides and PTSD. Now, we're up to 52 veteran suicides at the moment. That's this year. And 10 of those have pretty much been added in over the past week or 10 days. So that's extremely worrying, to be absolutely fair with you. And it's, if you work it out, the capitation rate, we're at about the same rate per head of population as the United States, who are losing 22 veterans per day to suicide. So it's something that we've really got to get onto. And, you know, I can't say it often enough. If there's anybody out there that is suffering, then for God's sake, you know, pick up the phone, get in contact with somebody, anybody, just speak to somebody, because there's always an out. Don't think that that is your only out, because it's not. So for Christ's sake, you know, just pick up the phone and talk, please. Right, immigration is the next thing that I would like to talk about. Now, there's a new mnemonic for immigrants, and it's twats. Everybody that comes across on a rubber boat is a twat. It stands for traveller without authority to stay. Now, it's probably not an official mnemonic, but I like it, so I'm going to use it more. Now, obviously, these numbers have increased somewhat, especially over the past month or so. And now France, who's being tackled by the UK, wants £30 million from the UK government, i.e. us, the British taxpayer, to assist in the funding of security to ensure that these people don't leave the shores of France. Now, we've paid in for years now to this, and all the money tends to go into France to increase security on the boats and on the tunnel, but it does nothing toward stopping these people jumping in the rubber boats and sailing across with just enough fuel in the boat that it conks out just as it enters our water, and then we have to go and rescue them under the regulations. So it's something that, you know, there are people on the case down there as we speak, and I would urge you, if you're interested in this, to look at Southeast Coastal Defence. You can find that on Facebook and on YouTube. The Little Veteran and the Pissed Off Patriot, all of which are down there every day trying to rest of us about the issues with regard immigration of the twats. So, you know, let's not take our eye off the ball. This is a big issue. And Priti Patel keeps saying that she's going to do something about it as Home Secretary, but nothing ever seems to be getting done about it. And the guy that's now down there assisting the border force or farce, is a retired Royal Marine Commander, and he wants to make their crossings untenable. So we'll see. We'll see if he comes up with the goods. He only started in the job, I believe, yesterday. So we'll take it from there, see what comes of it. But obviously, it's a big issue. Okay, the next thing I want to move on to is me leaving Facebook on the 22nd of August. I did say a couple of weeks ago that following in the footsteps of Trevor Colt, that I was going to leave Facebook, leave Twitter, leave everything basically apart from YouTube. Well, lots of people have said to me face to face in phone calls and in Messenger, please rethink it. You know, YouTube can take you down quite easily. At the moment, you're getting the message across on all platforms. So I've given that some thought. At the same time, Dave Rice, who was my boss, he was a warrant officer class 2 when I was a young wet behind the ears sergeant in London. And he, along with Pete Bates, way back in the early 90s, turned round and said to me, you know, you'll always have difficult times. The thing to do is to rise above those difficult times and just, you know, get on with it, move forward. Don't let the bastards grind you down, in other words. So as a result of that memory and the fact that Dave Rice has been in contact with me this past week and reminded me of that memory, I've decided that I'm not going anywhere. I'm going to stay. So, you know, there's far too much to do. I'm not normally known for my running away from a battle. And besides all the efforts of the trolls of trying to get me to leave, thanks to all of you viewing, all of you that are going to watch this on catch up, and mainly to Dave Rice, who reminded me of something that he told me almost 30 years ago. So well done, Dave Rice. Outstanding. Well done, sir. Beverly Lark sent me a message this past week, and she said, Simon, please can you let everybody know on your next live feed that veterans aren't just men, they are also the ladies. So here's me, slap on the wrist, giving my Mr. Bean Teddy a little cuddle and saying, Beverly, veterans also consist of female soldiers that have retired, female airmen, and also sailors. So my apologies for not bringing that up in the past. Bit naughty of me. So hopefully that's made amends. And the ladies, in my experience, were every bit as good as the men during their time in service. So hats off to the ladies. We still need them, both here in Civvy Street and in our military, because they keep everybody on the straight and narrow, and they're good at things that us men, quite frankly, aren't that good at. Right. So that was my scripted live for this evening. And now I've got some breaking news to give you, which only came to me within the hour of starting this at 7:30 this evening. Now, it's quite serious stuff, actually. In the Houses of Parliament, there is now a veterans support group, and it consists of around about 40 MPs. Some of those are veterans, some are not veterans, but they formed an alliance, if you like, this support group, to be on side with veterans and assist veterans in getting their point across in the House of Commons. Now, we need to ally with these people to make sure that our voice is heard in the House of Commons. And probably today it's become even more important for us to ally to them. It's come to light from a source that some officers, both serving officers that are really banged to rights anyway by the government because they're still under their full oath of allegiance and not under it as a retired officer, but also some retired officers are saying that EU military unification is a good thing. And I keep saying, and Dave Ellis keeps saying, and lots of other people keep saying that EU military unification, i.e. single point command, control and budget of our armed forces to Brussels, is not a good move. But all retired officers, or a lot of the retired officers, and pretty much all the serving officers are now saying, well, actually, it's not a bad thing. Perhaps we should just go for it. And the reason they're all now changing tack and saying that it's such a good thing is because they are being threatened by Parliament and the Ministry of Defence. So you could say that they're getting a D notice put on them. Do not mention EU military unification. If you do mention it, be upbeat about it. Say what a great idea it is. Because we're not going to be able to go to war with an army the size that it is now, and indeed the size that they want it to be after the Strategic Defence Review, which is coming up. So the officers have been dumbed down. Not that they say very much very often anyway. There's one or two that are vocal, but the rest, on the whole, don't say a lot about it. Now, are they really so short-sighted that they're going to take notice of the Ministry of Defence? Now, when I say the Ministry of Defence, that's our friend again, Stephen Lovegrove, in the civil service. Head man of the MOD, civil service, is Stephen Lovegrove. He's the man that produces, writes and dictates policy within the MOD. And he passes it through Secretary of State and people like Johnny Mercer, who's the Minister for Veterans Affairs. Now, are they so short-sighted that they're actually going to take notice of this man and not speak up? Have they had their tongues surgically removed? And have they forgot history? Because way back in 1937 to 1939, senior officers in the Red Army, the Russian army, they chose not to speak up about bad things that were happening. And before they could, Stalin had a purge and killed them all and buried them somewhere in Poland. Now, are officers a bit like the left? Are they being short-sighted in that they don't realise that they're the first ones to go when the shit hits the fan? So now is the time to speak up, realise what's going on, and stand up for veterans and indeed serving personnel. Because make no mistake about this, if they're not speaking up about EU military unification, because they're worried about their pensions and they're worried about their jobs and their houses, they're not going to speak up about anything else, including the Northern Ireland veterans that are undergoing persecution and prosecutions. Now, at the moment, there's only the likes of us normal soldiers, if you like, speaking up about it. And we're backed up by some very influential civilian personnel, such as David Ellis. What we need is people in the officer ranks to start making a row. We need the officers to grow a dick and be like a man and say it as it is and not hide. Perhaps they think it's so good an idea, this EU military unification, because they're thinking, oh, well, I could get a big payoff from the army. I could be made redundant, get a huge payoff, and then maybe I could get a job with one of the contractors, one of the defence contractors. Possible, isn't it? Well, may I remind them that all our defence contractors now are European defence contractors because we've sold off our R&D and our manufacturing and our procurement to France and Germany and Japan, other nations. So, short-sighted to say the least. I would stand up and stick up for the veterans and for the serving personnel under your command currently. Don't forget, politicians come and go. And we're trying very hard to get rid of Stephen Lovegrove out of the civil service. So things could change, but a little bit of assistance from a few senior officers really wouldn't go amiss, would it? Don't forget those purges of 37 to 39. I'm not saying that we've got a Stalinist government right now, but we have got a government that's moving toward socialism more. And socialism ultimately leads to full-blown communism. So those purges may come. You never know, do you? You never know. I would sort of err on the side of caution and head the Lovegroves of the world off at the pass now whilst you still can. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, thanks very much for listening. That's about all I've got to say for now. Please don't forget that there's still lots to do. And we've got what it takes, but it will take everything you've got to make it happen. And it's more urgent than now than ever before, because a state of irregular hybrid warfare exists within our own country right now. And if we, the people, don't wake up to the fact that our government is trying to pass laws, change things, change society for the worse, all under the guise of COVID-19, whilst we're in lockdown, then we're never going to realise it. So we have to realise it now, and we have to make moves to ensure our way of life is protected, because we certainly don't want a new way of life. Not the way of life that puts massive restrictions on us all. So stay safe. Love you all loads. Don't suffer in silence. Let's please not get this figure above 52. Let's keep it at 52. Let's not make it higher. Look after each other. Speak soon. This call sign is out.